to tell you a little bit more about Counsel More. And today for our session, we have Mark Salisbury, who is the founder and CEO of TuitionFit. And TuitionFit has a mission to build a world where everybody can find a college option that's affordable and accessible, and one that can transform the range of opportunities they have after they graduate. So it's really in a lot of alignment with what IECs are trying to do for their clients. So I am really happy to introduce you to Mark. You've probably heard from him in lots of different spaces, but today we want to break it down for you, the counselor and the user of Counsel More, and show you how many more things you can do when you understand TuitionFit. So Mark, thank you for being here.
You bet. It's always so much fun to chat with you, Lee.
It is. Mark's one of my first people that I met when I was new, and you've been a great supporter of me and made me feel a little bit smarter sometimes. So thank you.
It's not difficult to do. I'm a big
So what we wanted to do is just get to know, who is Mark Salisbury and why did he become an entrepreneur? So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's a really kind of a funny story because I don't have any great answer. I didn't plan on being an entrepreneur. I spent 25 years working in colleges and universities, which is kind of the opposite of being an entrepreneur, actually. But this pricing dilemma that everyone runs into, this lack of the possibility to find out just what are the actual prices, and for families and counselors to be able to simply give people good guidance so that they're looking at the schools that fit their price range. This wasn't possible, and it just seemed bananas for our whole industry that wasn't something people could do.
So you saw a need and you were like, okay, I'm going to stop what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I'm going to jump out there and just jump into the deep end and try to solve this problem. And you just started a company.
That's a crazy thing when you say it that way, but yes, that's exactly what happened.
I've really been excited about how much this industry has changed recently. Just all these new things popping up and all these new possibilities for all of us. And those of you who know Margaret know that she kind of had the same passion to want to be someone who knew the industry and then provide a tool that would help those of us who are in the industry do our job best. So tell me a little bit about how you even got involved with Counsel More. How did you find out about them and learn about the people behind it?
Yeah, that's actually one of my favorite parts of this whole journey has been the people that you meet along the way. And right at the beginning of the TuitionFit project, I went to my first IEC conference, and I'm sitting at a table trying to tell people about TuitionFit. And this woman walks over and introduces herself as Margaret and says, you know what, I really am interested in how we can crowdsource information. And I just like what you're trying to do. And let's have a chat. And not everybody does that. So I was immediately tickled, and we started to talk. And pretty soon it was really clear that we really shared a lot of the same values about how to help others and how to really have a mindset of abundance in the work that we do. And so I sort of kind of became a fan of Margaret from the day I met her. And then we've just stayed in touch and watched Counsel More grow and watched TuitionFit grow. And we keep saying we gotta spread the word about both of what we're doing because they dovetail so well.
Well, one of my favorite things is just that the information can be crowdsourced, right? If I go to a school and I find out something different than I see at Counsel More, I can pop in a data correction mode request and have them check it out and just find out what the right information is and then update the website. So it's gathering information from those of us who are out in the field and putting it all together. And when I say crowdsource, I think of TuitionFit. Tell us how that works, Mark.
That's exactly the same thinking that was going on in my head, although Margaret probably had it more clearly thought out than I did when I started this. But you're exactly right. There's so much information that's out there, and it's so distributed across millions of families and thousands of IECs, and every family's got a different experience. Every student has a different personality and a different sense of where they want to go. There's no way for anybody to know every single situation. And it's the same way with the actual prices. All of that information's been sitting in the financial aid award letters that students receive by the millions every year, but it's distributed 10, 20 in one house on a kitchen table somewhere. And so what we did with TuitionFit was essentially say, look, we could empower the whole industry by just creating a way for people to share it to a central place, organize the data in the way that colleges organize their prices so that people can sort of have a Kelly Blue Book for college pricing. And it's crowdsourced and it comes directly from families and counselors and helping each other at the same time.
It's awesome. I think it's an awesome thing. You say Kelly Blue Book, and it makes me laugh because I think of, whenever I look up my car and what it's worth, I always think it's like in better condition than it is.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of how families come with their students. They might be better qualified and you just don't know. But I think a lot of people understand from an outside perspective how TuitionFit may work, but I wanted to shed some light on how I used it this year. I had my families who are 2021 families get together, and we did a little presentation on how they could share their information with TuitionFit so that then they would have the opportunity to go on to TuitionFit and see where their offer sits for their child with their families that had the same, income level, EFC, et cetera, and compare their offers. So they could either go out and buy a bottle of, Dom Perignon and cheers and say, yay, we got a great deal, or go, ooh, maybe we need a different school, or maybe we can negotiate a little bit more. And I will say that when we really cleared it up with them, that they redact the information. If you upload an offer, they take out all the personal information. You're not disclosing any of your personal finances. You're just sharing your offer. And then what do they give back? They give back, you be able to see all of that information. And my families just really bought into that. And when I finally figured out how to tell them that and take that worry away that maybe they were disclosing something private, my families jumped in and it really worked. I have one student in particular, Tillman, the rest will remain anonymous, who his mom uploaded all of his letters, and he was able to go back and negotiate a deal with Florida Institute of Technology because he had some offers from other schools, but also he went into TuitionFit and saw where he landed at a lot of other schools in comparison. And the family is happy, which makes me happy. And Mark is happy because he has offer letters to add to his database. So did I miss anything? Like, what's one thing a counselor needs to know about TuitionFit they may not know?
Well, I think it is you hit on a couple of the really important things, and I'm so glad that you shared it because we built this tool just to create this data set so that then counselors can use it with their families. Because every counselor wants the same thing. They want every single student to be absolutely thrilled by the options that they have at each stage of the process, and really know that they've gotten the best possible value for the money they spent with the IEC and the institution that they've chosen to go to. And so many times with folks today, it's really hard to know that stuff. So what we did with TuitionFit was we said, first of all, it's got to be a free exchange. So if you share financial aid offer letters, you get to see all this other data that other people have shared, and that's a free exchange. And then two, TuitionFit was never going to be any sort of like, we'll take your private information and sell it something. We got way too much of that junk in the industry already, and we don't need more of that. We need less. So if it's gonna be a trust exercise, which I'm gonna share information with you, and then you're gonna share information with me, then we got to respect that trust. So we made it so that the system is designed where no personal information ever goes anywhere, never gets sold, it never gets shared. So people can see that their private information is protected and honored. And when people see that, I think that helps.
I think that was a big turning point for my clients. I get why TuitionFit is great for my business because it's just one more added benefit that leads to happiness, right? Happiness with the family. They're satisfied with the job I'm doing. I'm providing as much information as I can in this world of it depends, right? That's the answer to everything. Right. But them knowing that it's a safe exchange too, that it's not their private information, made it like a light bulb went on with the whole group of parents. And they really were thankful. I got several calls back after I did a little demo about TuitionFit. And we're not going to do that today. I just wanted you to get to know Mark and how you as a CounselMore user already understanding crowdsourcing might understand TuitionFit a little bit more because of the crowdsourcing. And from my point of view, also just being a counselor, some families lead with price, Mark, Some lead with the bumper sticker and some are leading with price. And this tool really helps if you're going to lead with price.
One of the things that we found is that far more families are in a position where they're not going to qualify for a lot of need-based aid or any need-based aid, but they can't just write a check tomorrow for the full price. And so they really need to find a price that fits their price range, even though they're, relatively affluent or relatively well off. Even when families come in and they start listing off schools by name, as a counselor, you start asking more questions, right? And you do your job to help them think about the things they haven't thought about. So you ask about graduate school, you ask about other siblings that might be going to college and what those families' needs might be, because you're really trying to provide them the best possible guidance. And so families don't know what they don't know. So the more you can provide to them and help them think about the big picture and all of the implications of the choice they make, the better you're going to be as a counselor. And, so many counselors depend on word of mouth as a way to get more clients. Well, word of mouth is really powerful when you know that you've been able to serve people and they know that they really got everything they could get out of the relationship with you. So,
and it's even at times brought up schools I didn't think about, right? Because we were going in and looking with the family and saying, well, what other schools kind of fit in this? And then I went, oh my gosh, there's only a couple thousand schools. So it really helped pop up some. And then families will say, well, what about that school? If that student is similar to mine and that family is similar to mine, why did they apply there? And then my job becomes either educating them on why they may not be a fit for that school, or going, oh yeah, let's look into it. So I found it eye-opening from that point of view as well, just for that conversation. And I'm a big fan of, let's talk about price now, so that this time next year, you're wondering why you even applied to that school if it's going to be X amount of dollars and it's not in your budget.
Nobody wants to use their time and money inefficiently, right? Counselors don't like to do that. Families certainly don't like to do that. And everybody hates the experience of having looked at schools, gotten their heart set on the schools, paid for the application to those schools, only to find out that, half of them accepted you, but then have a price that just puts it really out of a reasonable range. And as a counselor, you don't like that surprise either, because then you're sort of going, gee, I hope they don't decide to blame me for the poor guidance I gave them. So that's where TuitionFit really turns out to be very helpful for counselors, because now you can really be sure that every step along the way, the family's options aren't going to be sort of surprisingly cut in half.
So Mark, as a counselor who's kind of just getting familiar with TuitionFit, I want to help you. And I just got a bunch of award letters for the students I'm working with. Since they've already accepted, how can I help you with that information if I just want to help and jump on that crowdsourcing bandwagon?
Well, what counselors can do who they're just finding out about TuitionFit, maybe their students are already found their schools and sort of moved through the process, but you have all the award letters, you can pull your student data from your CounselMore account, so that you've got just the basic demographic and information about the students. And then we can create a secure Dropbox that you can upload all the award letters and that basic data, so that we can make sure the data gets into the system. And if folks are willing to do that, first of all, thank you from the thousands of students that will use that data to improve their college search, and as well as counselors. And then secondly, just reach out to me at mark@tuitionfit.org and we'll work out how that process can work.
I want to wrap it up, and I want to make sure that everyone who's listening feels like they have a good feeling about what Mark and TuitionFit are doing. And then I also want to lead in to the fact that we're going to talk about Quattro money in a couple of weeks. And that is yet another tool that you can use with CounselMore that also loves them some TuitionFit. I actually have TuitionFit on my website. I have a couple things that I ask families to sign up for when they sign up with me, because Mark also has great information that's going to come if they get his newsletter as well. And then the information isn't all coming from me, because, there's a fire hose to the face. That's my new hashtag of information in this business. And sometimes when you can parse it out into what's important for them based on who the source of the information is. I love that they can get their financial and information like that from Mark and TuitionFit, and then they're ready and warmed up to really use the tool a little bit later down the road. So I'm a big fan. Thank you so much, Mark.
You bet. It's great to see you again.
You too. Thank you.